Viewer discretion is advised. The content below is intended solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It recounts a direct testimony from a federal courtroom during the Sean Diddy Combs trial, as reported by Inner City Press. After months of speculation, leaked documents, and public pressure, the moment everyone had been waiting for arrived. Sean Jay-Z Carter entered the courtroom, not as a global icon or business titan, but as a man facing serious allegations and appearing as a witness on behalf of Diddy. With shocking claims of private, explicit parties now central to sworn testimonies, Jay-Z found himself pulled into the chaos by mere association. His name was linked to locations he denied visiting, events he claimed never happened, and people he asserted he'd never met. The question was, how would he defend himself before a jury, the press, and a culture closely watching? The courtroom had just begun to settle after a lengthy series of procedural debates. Prosecutors were about to reintroduce materials tied to Cassie Ventura's statements. Diddy's legal team appeared unbothered, calmly flipping through documents. That's when the door opened, not quietly or subtly, but with a sense of inevitability. The kind of entrance made when someone knows the truth is finally about to catch up with everything others try to hide. Jay-Z walked in, dressed in a midnight blue suit, so precisely tailored it could have been mistaken for armor. He didn't glance around. There was no entourage, no Beyoncé, no Rock Nation staff. Just him, an undeniable cultural giant, stepping into a courtroom that never expected to see him in this way. Under these circumstances, he hadn't been on any public witness list. No one had prepared for this. Audible gasps filled the gallery. People stood instinctively. One reporter dropped her pen. Cassie leaned toward her lawyer. Even the judge looked slightly surprised. Diddy, seated at the defense table, turned and locked eyes with Jay-Z like he was staring at a ghost from his past, one he thought was buried for good. Jay-Z had asked to give his testimony privately, but the court denied the request, opting instead for full transparency. Now he was about to deliver what would become one of the most unforgettable moments in the trial, not through lyrics, but through raw recollection. He took the oath. The room, packed with federal attorneys, entertainment reporters, and executives who once cut multi-million-dollar deals with him, leaned in like they were about to hear the most controversial verse of his career. His voice was steady and precise, but tight as if pulled from both sides. "Let me be clear," he said. "I'm here because staying silent isn't an option anymore." That one sentence shifted the atmosphere. Because when Sean Carter speaks, not the businessman, not the performer, but the man, his words carry weight. And this wasn't just testimony. It was accountability. He didn't waste time dodging or denying. Instead, he gave context, an even more unsettling move. "Yes, I was invited to Diddy's events. Yes, I went. But what I saw and what was really happening were two very different things." Every word was deliberate. His attorneys sat frozen across the courtroom. Some weren't sure if his words were helping or hurting the defense. Was he backing them or betraying them? The answer unfolded slowly. He revealed he had seen the warning signs: strict NDAs, confiscated phones, closed-off rooms behind curtains. "I never went in those rooms. I never signed anything. But I knew something was wrong." That statement cracked the courtroom atmosphere wide open. It wasn't just an admission of proximity. It was an acknowledgement of the machinery behind the allegations. Turning to the jury, Jay-Z said, "In this business, there are parties. And then there are parties. The kind I started walking away from weren't about fun. They were calculated experiences built on power and control." When asked if he had witnessed illegal behavior directly, he responded carefully, "Not exactly, but I saw enough to know I didn't want to be there." He described one party in 2015, allegedly thrown for Christian Combs' birthday in Miami. They had masks. One guy walked by wearing only heels and leather. People laughed. I didn't. He looked terrified. Jay-Z said he left early that night, calling a private driver instead of using the event's arranged transportation. "I didn't want my name attached to whatever that was." Then the prosecution produced a photograph, grainy but verified, showing Jay-Z, Diddy, LeBron James, and Beyoncé in a room with a masked man kneeling on a velvet cushion. Jay-Z studied the image quietly. "I remember that. They told me it was performance art." I didn't laugh. I didn't stay. He then addressed Diddy directly. People trusted you. You exploited that. Diddy's expression finally cracked. Then Jay-Z dropped a revelation that changed his testimony from cautious distancing to outright condemnation. He recalled a conversation from late 2018 when rumors of a federal investigation began circulating. Jay-Z claimed Diddy called him in a panic, saying, "They're coming for me. You need to watch who you're seen with." Jay-Z said he asked directly, "Did you do something I can't defend?" Diddy's answer, "It's just parties, just experiences. No one gets hurt unless they want to." Jay-Z's voice faltered. That was the last real conversation we had. After that, he said he stopped taking Diddy's calls. He withdrew from joint projects, skipped Revolt events, and told Roc Nation to steer clear of anything involving Diddy. Then the prosecution revealed a key piece of evidence, an email exchange between Jay-Z's legal team and an anonymous individual in early 2020. The warning was clear. NDAs from past events could be weaponized against anyone present, guilty or not. Jay-Z nodded. I knew what that meant. They were going to use silence as protection. I wasn't going to be part of that. He ended that part of his testimony with a line that was reported even before the court recessed. He used to be my brother, but now I see who he really was, and who I almost became by standing too close. The courtroom remained frozen. The cultural and legal fallout had only just begun. As Jay-Z leaned forward in the witness chair, his hands folded, his voice was steady yet clearly emotional. The courtroom, already tense in the swirl of allegations, grew heavier. Jay-Z was no longer just a celebrity implicated in scandal. He was a husband, a father, and a man defending his life's work. I need to talk about my family, he began, locking eyes with the jury. Because when my name gets dragged, so does theirs. The room went silent. Jurors leaned in. Reporters paused their notes. Even Diddy, who had been scribbling throughout the morning, looked up. Jay-Z described the impact the accusations had on Beyoncé and their children. Blue Ivy is old enough to read headlines now, he said. She asked me what a freak-off was. That's not something a father should have to explain. He recounted how paparazzi had surrounded their home after the lawsuit surfaced, with cameras even stationed outside Blue's school. Headlines blurred fact and fiction, reducing his life to sensationalism. My wife has stood by me through everything, he continued. But this was different. This wasn't business or rivalry. This was a bomb dropped on our family, and it was all based on a lie. Addressing claims that he and Beyoncé attended a notorious 2015 party in Miami, Jay-Z pulled out flight records. That night, we were in Paris for our anniversary, he said. We stayed at Hotel Plaza Athene. I provided hotel receipts, time-stamped photos and videos, and eyewitness accounts. We weren't there. The documents were verified by court officials. Jay-Z, quite literally, had the receipts. He went on to criticize the rise of gossip and clickbait over facts. When did we stop asking for proof? He asked. When did accusations become convictions? He underscored that his reputation is tied to his family and legacy. I've spent decades building something clean, something meant to uplift our community. And in one headline, it's smeared without a shred of evidence. Though Beyoncé's name came up often, Jay-Z never leaned on her fame. He portrayed her as a mother and wife blindsided by lies. I'm here to defend the truth, he said, to ensure no one, not even a billionaire, gets to bury others in fiction. Turning to another key accusation, Jay-Z addressed the claim that he attended a party at Gloria Estefan's Miami mansion. I've never been to her house in my life, he stated. He provided a timeline from that week, including security logs and charity event documentation. On the night in question, he said he was in Los Angeles, attending a charity dinner hosted by the Sean Carter Foundation. Here's my speech transcript, the guest list, and a photo with the mayor. Surveillance logs confirmed his presence at the museum. Still, the most impactful part of his testimony wasn't the hard evidence. It was how these falsehoods had taken root. Jay-Z dissected the vagueness of legal filings and the dangerous weight of innuendo. You don't need a lie to be loud, he said. You just need it to be repeated. His past attendance at some of Diddy's events had, in the media's eyes, made him guilty by association. I once went to a brunch, and now I'm implicated in everything he's accused of. Jay-Z's legal team submitted an analysis showing dozens of outlets repeating false claims without ever reaching out to verify them. Not one contacted his representatives. He turned to prosecution and stated bluntly, if you're going to drag a man into a trial this massive, you need more than gossip and guesses. His testimony then veered into darker territory as he addressed a flood of conspiracy theories that had surfaced alongside Diddy's legal troubles. I've been called a lot in this business, but Illuminati puppet? Murderer by association? That's a new level, he said. He cited viral TikTok videos linking him to figures like Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, and Jeffrey Epstein. They say, where there's smoke, there's fire, but sometimes it's just fog machines and dramatic music. He listed specific accusations, claimed that he was involved in Aaliyah's death, orchestrated Michael Jackson's and Tupac's deaths, or paid people to cover up Diddy's alleged crimes. Not one of these has any proof, he said, but they get repeated because they sell. Holding up a Reddit thread with thousands of upvotes speculating about a secret inner circle with Beyoncé and Diddy, he said, this is what passes for journalism now. These conspiracies, he explained, were affecting real people. I've had family followed, business deals fall through, and even received death threats, all because someone online drew connections that don't exist. But he also admitted a mistake. I didn't speak up earlier because I thought the truth was obvious. Maybe I underestimated how quickly lies can spread when they come with a good beat and ominous narration. He ended with a final appeal. I'm not asking to be liked. I'm asking to be heard, to think, to demand proof. Because if we don't draw the line here, none of us are safe. As the courtroom exhaled and Jay-Z finished, the lead prosecutor rose. A seasoned federal litigator with a reputation for rattling even the most media-trained stars, he locked eyes with Jay-Z. Mr. Carter, he began, you say you've never been to Gloria Estefan's home. You provided solid documentation. That's compelling. Jay-Z nodded. Because it's the truth. But by your own admission, you've attended multiple events hosted by Mr. Combs. The prosecutor pressed. High-profile ones, brunches, fundraisers, award shows. Yes, Jay-Z answered carefully. Public industry events. Nothing like what's being described here. Did you ever witness anything inappropriate at those events? The prosecutor asked. Jay-Z hesitated. Not for long, but enough for people to notice? He repeated the question, then answered, no. I saw music networking the usual. And you never saw a Cassie Ventura in distress? Or anything similar to what she's described? Jay-Z's jaw tightened. Cassie was often there. She was Diddy's partner. But I never saw her in distress, and I certainly never saw the things she described in court. The prosecutor leaned in. So now that you hear about the coercion, the abuse, the so-called freak-offs, you're saying this is all news to you? I didn't see it, Jay-Z replied firmly. And if I had, I wouldn't have stayed quiet. The prosecutor nodded. That's what Russell Simmons said, too. A gasp swept the room. Jay-Z's expression flickered. Objection, his attorney snapped. The judge sustained it, but the implication lingered. The prosecutor continued, hinting that Jay-Z's closeness to Diddy may have given him access to more than just industry deals. He floated the idea that Jay-Z knew more than he was revealing, but without direct evidence. It remained speculation. The jury watched, some skeptical, others understanding. Jay-Z's final words before stepping down cut through the tension. I'm not here to protect Diddy. I'm here to protect my name. If I were part of that world, if I even suspected it, I wouldn't be testifying. I'd be on trial. As Jay-Z stepped down from the witness stand, he adjusted his suit and cast a brief glance toward the gallery. Though Beyoncé wasn't physically present, her absence lingered in every gaze that followed him. Escorted by security, he exited through a side door, leaving behind a courtroom buzzing with murmurs, gasps, and head shakes, some of disbelief, others of vindication. Reporters exchanged notes and typed frantically, while social media lit up with headlines declaring, Jay-Z breaks silence under oath, Jay-Z defends family from Diddy ties, and Jay-Z versus prosecution. Verdicts were already being passed in the court of public opinion. Inside the courtroom, however, reactions were more complex. The jury remained impassive. Juror 4, a middle-aged black woman in a beige suit, continued scribbling notes. Juror 9, a young man with a military haircut, stared at the now-empty witness chair long after Jay-Z had gone. An alternate juror silently chewed his pen cap, brows furrowed in thought. In the gallery, a former bad boy in turn wiped away tears. Caught by a courtroom sketch artist. During recess, she whispered to a reporter, "He said he didn't know, but we saw him at those events. Maybe he really didn't see what we saw, or maybe he just chose not to." Cassie Ventura sat stone-faced at her attorney's table throughout. She didn't react to Jay-Z's testimony, but when he mentioned Blue Ivy and his voice faltered, she looked up, not in sympathy, but with a questioning gaze. Was he shielding his family or himself? Diddy, normally composed, started to twitch. His pen tapped faster. His eyes darted across the room. Jay-Z's testimony didn't feel like betrayal. It felt like confirmation. The ship was sinking, and everyone was scrambling for a lifeboat. After the judge called for a short recess, the courtroom spilled into the hallway where opinions clashed. Some supported Jay-Z. He brought the receipts. He was honest. What more do you want? Others remained skeptical. He's just trying to save face. He's part of that machine. In between was the uncertain truth. Nobody really knew, but everyone had something to say. Back at Roc Nation headquarters, silence dominated. No official statements followed Jay-Z's testimony. His lawyer, Alex Spiro, offered only a concise comment to press. Mr. Carter testified truthfully and courageously. We stand by his integrity. But the media wasn't waiting for legal clarifications. Within half a day, every major outlet, from TMZ to the New York Times, had dissected his appearance. Some hailed his honesty. Others dismissed it as strategic damage control. Beyoncé's name trended globally for over a day and a half. Her publicists remained tight-lipped. Fans were split. Some fiercely defended her, while others questioned how entwined she and Jay-Z were with Diddy's world. The prosecution, meanwhile, recalibrated. Jay-Z hadn't dismantled their case, but he'd certainly complicated it, humanizing himself, creating distance between his family and the scandal, and shifting public focus. Yet in doing so, he also spotlighted a deeper issue, the industry's long-standing culture of selective ignorance and plausible deniability. The district attorney's office released a cautious statement. While Mr. Carter's testimony was notable, our investigation continues and is not limited to any one individual. The message was clear. This wasn't over. Then came the curveball. 50 Cent true to form, he posted an image of Jay-Z on the witness stand with the caption, "Nice performance, but we ain't forgot them brunches, my guy." It went viral. In the following days, more celebrities subtly re-entered the conversation. Alicia Keys posted a quote about truth-breaking silence. Questlove tweeted cryptic emojis. Even Oprah shared a story about rising from ashes. Jay-Z's reputation had endured damage, but it hadn't crumbled. His testimony marked a definitive shift. Silence was no longer sustainable. And in a trial filled with bombshells, one fact emerged undeniably. The courtroom wasn't just judging Diddy. It was scrutinizing an entire era shaped by power, proximity, and protection. Jay-Z had survived the stand. But the real trial, the trial of legacy, was only just beginning.